I've now enjoyed several months, almost trouble-free cooking with this cheap eBay, cost around 10 quid, portable gas. There's a problem after some prolonged use with a gas leak on the flexible pipe. So I'll just highlight and explain how I cured this problem, which very often writes off these small practical camping cookers. The problem is the fitting which screws into here, and this gets extremely hot. This is the base, but the heat is transferred from the burner downwards, and you will see there is a small nut, and that small nut holds in the fitting, and the fitting has two neoprene, and that's where the problem lies. These are not heat resistant seals. They're round, small round rings, so that needs to be unscrewed, withdrawn, and then packing, heat-proof packing. I use cotton thread, but you could use hemp, and you lightly wind it around between the two O-rings and then press home and reattach the fitting. Now the fitting will not be able to turn. I should explain that they've used O-rings so that the fitting is able to revolve, but that is unnecessary, and that actually causes the problem. It's the Achilles heels of all of these small stoves that where you have the heat, it deteriorates the O-ring because the O-ring is not the correct material. It should have a heat resistant silicone type ring. The O-rings which should be used are abbreviated as FKM. The material is fluorine, and that creates it is the correct material for O-seals which are subject to heat. Now once you've just bought those, also available from eBay, but you have to import them from China. Then, if you've measured the O-rings before you started using any cooker, you'll then be able to get replacements, but better still, buy them before you use the cooker and then have a couple spare, because if you use any of these mini cookers you are going to get a leak, and that is why MSR sell a service kit which include exactly these types of rings but cost around £25. Another necessary add-on is to buy one of these. They're quite nominal in price, and it enables you to adapt the screw thread to the aerosol canister, which are generally more available and more inexpensive. In fact, there is additional adapter which allows you to go into a 1-inch thread mini canister, which is a Coleman. You'll be able to find these on eBay. They're quite inexpensive, probably about £5 each, but certainly worth having. You'll then be able to adapt the cooker to what is available, because very often it's called sod's law. You're never able to buy when you actually need one. I found this in America. The Coleman is more popular. That's about 1-inch thread at the top, and you can buy a converter. Better to buy it on eBay and have it. You can also have these aerosol adapters, which they are available but often sell out because they're less expensive. So it's better to have at least the option of 2 other types of canister that you're able to use. So for clarification, this is what comes with it. This is what the standard fitting, it's a mini screw thread. This is standard, so you can adapt these to take 2 other varieties of canister. On the whole, I found this totally reliable and I used it for 3 months, apart from the leaking connector. All of these mini stoves suffer from the same, and pocket rockets, firefly, they are all susceptible to the seals perishing. And so before you use measure with vernier calipers the diameters of the rings which are utilised within your cooker, and then seek out an advert and import them from China. They work out around £3 or something for a packet of 20, but it's well worth something's still the wrong price. The cooker's about £10, and then to buy some seals is going to cost you about £3.50. But there we are, that's the practicality of it all. But if you want to keep the cooker and carry on, well, it's well worth buying a packet. You'll need a certain size for these. You can rectify all these braids. The problem is always the 2 mini seals which are inside. And on the pocket rockets and the upright stoves, you've always got where the canister screws into the bottom of the burner. The other thing which I adapted on this, I put some binding, some fabric tape around the adjuster. So the diameter as standard is too small, so that has to be increased. So several bindings of the tape made tuning, once it had fired up, very much easier. They're actually a good piece of kit. Just to highlight what I said earlier, this is one of these mini stoves that I've used, and they're quite practical, but the problem is the seal which is on the inside. And the problem arises because of the heat it's generated when you perhaps turn off and then decide to dismantle, or the union, the screw fitting, is attached to the canister while this is still hot. It starts twisting the seal, and that's when the problem begins, because the seal is already soft because of the heat. Unscrewing it, in effect, unscrews with the canister, and then it stretches, and then the problem is you can't put it back in, and then it is thinner. It's just a hassle. You really have to let the cooker cool totally before unscrewing, and that will preserve the life of the seal. Also, siliconing. Silicone is your friend with these. Use some silicone grease, high temperature silicone grease, the type that is used in brake calipers on cars, and then that will alleviate you of the problem of the seal sticking on dismantling. It just makes, well, that's what it's designed for. And here's a panoramic view of the cookware that I took, and it's from eBay, and the cost of this was £10.50. You get a largish saucepan, 150mm in diameter. There's the frying pan, also acts as the lid. A smaller pan which fits inside the larger saucepan, has a lid. It can also be used as a serving tray, and they throw in a couple of mugs as well. Quite small, but adequate, sufficient. The glory of this is that the cooker can fit inside, and like a Russian doll, the whole set can be enclosed into one unit. Obviously not with the mug, because you'll be needing that through the day, but everything is self-contained, and that is a wonderful, wonderful option. Now, providing you're not taking gas cylinders with you, that is perfectly acceptable in checked luggage on an aircraft. In fact, I don't even think you need to have it in checked luggage. Overhead, it'll be accepted in overhead. It is just a cooker. It doesn't contain any flammable gas or liquid, so you can fly with it. That is a really handy piece of kit, and ideal if you're motorcycling, just to take with you to have a brew, or if you want to have a snack, or if you're camping over the weekend, quick fry up. Now, it could be lighter with titanium, but at £10.50 that has to hit the spot. Thoroughly recommend it. Thoroughly recommend the cooker. So you've got a complete outfit, and that was £22. And I don't think you can do better with that. That has paid dividends of 1,000%. Just cooking meals in the USA saves you vast amounts of money. Nothing there is cheap. It's all expensive. You'll pay for yourself in the first day.